What's up, everyone? It's your boy Hope, and I'm bringing you a guide on how to get the most frames possible within the Call of Duty Warzone Pacific update on the new CALDERA map. The settings that I'm going to show you, they're not going to just be the lowest graphics settings on everything so you can get like 500 frames in your game. Most people's monitors only go up to 144 or 240 hertz, so anything over that, it really doesn't mean anything. So I'm just going to show you the settings that I use to get the most frames possible to match your hardware. The first thing that we're going to be going through is the in-game Warzone settings and all of those graphics settings, and then we're going to go into some deeper settings within Windows to change to get the most frames possible within any game that you play on your PC. So let's hop right into it. All right, so the first things that we're going to be going through today are the display settings. So I personally use full screen borderless because when I stream and I want to tab out of my game, I don't want my game to just close and crash out completely without needing to hide my screen and use my other monitors that I have to my left and to my right. So I leave it on full screen borderless. If you only have one monitor, you can just put this on full screen. That'll give you the best frames possible. There isn't much of a difference between full screen and full screen borderless. So if you have multiple screens and you want to be able to just move your mouse out and go to other applications you might have open, full screen borderless will work for you. Otherwise, just use full screen. Then if I'm not going to apply it, but if you're in full screen, you could choose which monitor that you want. If you have multiple, you're going to choose your main display adapter. As you can see, I have an RTX 3070 card. So if you are in full screen borderless, it will lock your screen refreshes rate to whatever the top of it is. As for me, it's 144. If you're in full screen, you can change it to whatever you want. I don't know why you'd go anything under what your top refresh rate possible is, but to each their own. Then the render resolution, just leave it at 100. You don't need to go anything less than that. 100 is going to give you the resolution that you have on your monitor. Display resolution, same thing, just leave it as is. I'm going to go back to borderless. So dynamic resolution, I would recommend leaving this off, and then changing this won't really do anything. Next, we have sync every frame. You're going to want that disabled. Custom frame rate limit, you can leave this on unlimited. I personally have it on custom, and then I max out the gameplay custom frame rate limit and the menu, and when the game is out of focus, I put those both to 60. So if I am tabbed out to like a web browser, Discord, whatever, it's not going to just eat up my computer when I'm not actually playing it. So that's totally personal preference. You can leave it on unlimited. I put it on custom. Brightness, I personally had mine on 53. This is just for you guys to play around, see what works best on your monitor because everyone's screens are different. So that's, again, personal preference. Play with this, see what brightness looks best to you. Display gamma, 2.2 sRGB. That's the best for monitors. 2.4 is for TVs. If you have a PC, I don't know why I'd be playing on a TV, but if you are, you could change that. Nvidia highlights, this is only if you have an Nvidia card, so you can, but I would highly recommend you disable this because it takes up a lot of memory and it just eats at your frames, so just leave that off. The reflex low latency, I highly recommend putting this on enabled plus boost, so it gives you the lowest latency possible for input lag, so I would highly recommend that you put this on. The next thing we're going to go into is the quality tab. So the FOV that I use is 110. You can put that on 120. It's, again, that's all personal preference. It won't impact your frames too much depending on the hardware that you have. The ADS field of view, I have it on affected, so it has the least amount of visual recoil when I'm shooting my gun, so I highly recommend that. Camera movement, I would put this on the least, so you get a lot less like bounciness and stuff like that. So just lower that to least. Streaming quality, you're going to put this on low. Texture resolution. So I know that there are a lot of guys that are going to tell you to put this on low or very low. You will get a lot of frames if you do this because it's going to make everything else like pretty much, as you can see, like blurred nothingness. I personally like normal. I think it looks a lot better than what this will give you. The player models look better. It makes it a lot clearer for me, so that's why I put it on normal. Again, you'll see other guys that tell you to drop it, but I don't like my game to look like garbage. I'm just gonna say it. It looks like garbage if you put it on very low. So that's why I leave it on normal. Anything over that, if you go high, it'll just eat at your GPU. So I would recommend putting that on normal. Texture filter anisotropic, I have that on a high because it will help the texture qualities when you're viewing stuff at an angle. So leave that on high. Particle quality, low or high. It doesn't really impact your frames too much, so I put it on high. Bullets, impacts, and sprays, I have that disabled. If you want it on, cool, but I turn it off. Tessellation, turn that off. Dismemberment and gore effects, turn that off. On-demand texture streaming, if you're getting a lot of the packet bursts and stuff in-game, turning this off will help a lot because it doesn't download different textures as you're playing. So leave that on disabled. Filmic strength, put that all the way up to 1. Film grain, put that on 0. You don't want any of the graininess on the game. It just looks terrible. I don't even know why this is a setting, to be honest. But that's neither here nor there. If you have an Nvidia GPU and you're playing on a 1440p, you can put this on quality or balanced. You could play around with that to see what works best for you and what gives you the best frame boost possible. So again, I don't play with it on because I'm only on 1080p. But if you're on a higher resolution screen, play around with this and see what works best for you, because other settings might give you more frames without much quality loss. So play around with that and see what works best for you, because everyone's computers are a little bit different. Anti-aliasing, some people have it off. I prefer SMAA1X. Don't go any higher than that. You won't really see much of a difference. Depth of field, motion blur, weapon motion blur, leave all of those off. There's no reason to have any of this. You're just giving yourself a disadvantage. Shadow map resolution, you're going to put that on low. Cache spot shadows and cache sun shadows. This is one of the most important settings that you can have enabled in your quality setting to get you the most frames. Make sure that these are both enabled. Okay? It'll give you the most frames possible by having these both on. Particle lighting, ray tracing, ambient occlusion, and screen space reflection, all of those disabled. I'm just going to run through this one more time on both display and on quality, just so you guys can pause the video as you need it and copy it again. So here's the display. I'm going to scroll down. And then moving over to quality. All right, so now we're going to hop into some Windows and Nvidia settings to make sure your game is as optimized as possible. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is within Windows. So I'm on Windows 11, so it might look a little bit different for you guys. So when you're at your computer, you're going to go to Documents, and then you're going to go to Call of Duty Modern Warfare. You're going to go under the Players folder and look for the ADV Options INI document. So first thing that you're going to want to do, you can right-click on it and go to Properties. Make sure it's not on read-only for the first time that you're going to make these changes. And then you're going to open the document. The video memory scale, you're going to want that on 0.9. That's the best setting for that option. The renderer work count. So this is going to be different based on your computer specs. So as you can see here, if you have an Intel CPU, you're going to want it on 6. Doesn't matter what amount of cores you have. It doesn't matter. Put it on 6 for that renderer work count. If you have an AMD CPU, this is going to be different for everybody. So if you have a 5950X at 16 cores, you're going to make that number 8. So it's going to be half of your cores. Okay? If you had a 5900X with 12 cores, you're going to make it 6. If you have a 5800X like myself with 8 cores, you're going to make that 4. And if you have a 5600X or anything less than that that has 6 cores, you're still going to make it 4. You're not going any less than that, okay? That's going to give you the best performance possible. And we can close that out. And if you're not sure where to find that, you just save this document. You go to File, Save, once you make your changes. If you're not sure where to find the amount of cores that you have, you just open up your task manager. Under your performance tab, you click on CPU right here. Let me move this. And then right down here under cores, that's where you're going to see it. So for me, as you can see, I have 8. So that's why the render work count for me is 4. Okay? So come here and find it. See what it is. If it's anything under 8, if it's 6, still put it at 4. If it's 12, put this at 6. If it's 16, put this at 8. And that's only for AMD users. If you're Intel, just make this 6 and call it a day. And then to make sure that it doesn't get altered, you can go back to the properties. So you right-click properties. Under the attributes, just make it read-only and apply. And now we're going to go into some BattleNet optimizations that you can use. So the first setting that you're going to want to be altering within the BattleNet launcher, you're going to go under Call of Duty Warzone, go to Options, and then Game Settings. Then under the Call of Duty Warzone settings, you're going to check additional command line arguments, and you're going to put in -D3D11. You're going to click Done. Then the next thing that you're going to do is go to the BattleNet menu, go to Settings, and then under General, you're going to exit BattleNet completely on game launch. This will just close it out in the background, make sure that no other updates will run while you're playing your game, and it will give you a little more frame boost, so just make sure that you do that as well. The next setting that you're going to change within Windows, you're going to click the Start button, and you're going to type in GPU Settings, and it will bring up the Graphics Settings menu. You can just click on that. And then, because this is Windows 11, it doesn't bring you directly to the screen that you want to be at. So if you're on Windows 11, you're going to hit this Change Default Graphics Settings, and make sure that the hardware accelerated GPU scheduling is turned on. This will give you a great performance boost within any game that you play on this PC. The last thing that I'm going to show you guys is some Nvidia control panel settings to make your game look incredible. So once the Nvidia control panel launches, the first area that you're going to go to is Adjust Image Settings with Preview. You're going to use the Advanced 3D Image Settings. Make sure that that is selected, and you're going to choose Apply down here. Then under Manage 3D Settings, I'm just going to scroll through this little menu right here. I'm going to go as slow as I can. Just copy all of these settings, and it will really give you guys a good frame boost for your graphics card. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit. So as you can see the settings here, we're going to scroll down past the DSR smoothness. We're going to scroll down again. Okay, so there's all of those settings. If you miss it, just go back a few seconds, pause it, copy all of those settings for you guys. The next option that you're going to want to go to is under Display, go to Adjust Desktop Color Settings. Now, what this is going to allow for you to do is manipulate the colors of your monitor without using the Nvidia filters. I know a lot of you guys love the Nvidia filters, and it really makes your game pop, but it takes away a lot of frames. I think it's something like 10%. I forget the exact number, but it's a good amount. So go to your display that you're going to want to alter. I just did this for all three, just so the colors all align. It just makes it look better for me. So the brightness is going to be 55. Contrast, you're going to make it 55%. Gamma, you're going to put this on 1.19. Digital vibrance, put this up to 75. If the colors seem like too intense for you, you can drop this down to like 70, 65. Play around with that and see what works best for you. And then once you apply those settings, you're going to go under setup G-Sync. Now, if you want this on, that's totally up to you. It will make your game look a little bit smoother. But if you do turn this on, just be aware that this will give you a lot more input lag. So if you're playing for a more competitive edge, I highly recommend leaving this off. Those are the settings that you're going to want to use to make Call of Duty Warzone Caldera look incredible and give you the most frames possible. Again, I'm not just going to show you the settings that's going to have every graphical setting on low as possible so you can get 300 frames on a 144 hertz monitor. It's not going to alter, it's not going to make it look that much better for you, right? Your monitor only goes up to 144. What's the point in going to 300 frames? That's how I look at it. So I really appreciate you guys watching this video. I hope this guide helps you out. If you have any questions, reach out to me on Twitter, Discord, comment below. I'll try to get to any responses that I can to help you guys out as quickly as possible. I appreciate you watching the video. Please like, comment below if there's anything that you want me to post, any games optimizations that I can possibly do for you. I appreciate it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace!